because you can't see yourself, so now you're listening to what they say you are. Or you can't see yourself, so you mimic them because you can't see you. So you dress like them. You act like them. You talk like them. And you're wondering why you're still not fulfilled, because it ain't you. So it's growing up to be the best you, not to be them. Because the best them is still less than you. And that's what's so tough. We got to grow up. Right? So using the Simba scenario, we got to stop playing in the jungle. See, he's playing around in the jungle. Oh, I'm sorry, 2013. Partying, kicking it, when he's the next king. He eating bugs when he's supposed to be eating the king's meat. He's supposed to rule, and he running. That's the dangerous thing. We got to go to the point. Something I always taught my son. I said, I'm not even going to get caught up in the right and wrong. Do what's best. Every decision you make as a man, as a father, as a leader, I said, just do what's best. 1 Corinthians 6:12, it says, all things are lawful but not expedient. You can do whatever you want to do. Right now, y'all can do whatever you want. You can go out here and flip all the cars over if you want to. But would it be best? So you have to be honest with yourself. Is it best? What's best? Is it going to accelerate me to purpose, or is it going to delay my acceleration? Is it going to make me comfortable here and not push me to go there? See, so you always want to do what's best. And it's hard. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a pastor. I got to do what's best. We drove in town. We drove about 6-7 hours or whatever, but I committed to go to a basketball game. So what was best is to honor my word. But I'm not going to sell y'all short. I still got to prepare to make sure y'all hear what God has to say. So I couldn't say, man, I'll just preach anything. Listen, I've been driving, I went to the game. No, she'll tell you I didn't half step on nothing. I still prayed. Why? Because that's what's best. And so we have to grow up and start doing the uncomfortable things. You sit around hugging that pillow as long as you want, or doing that less than stuff, it's going to drive you crazy. All right, let me just give you this. Do I want to go to that first? Yeah, let me just give you these. You're a child until legalized paternity is spoken by the father. You're a child. You're immature until God says, this is my son whom I well please. The scripture says in Hebrews 6, without faith it's impossible to please God. So if you are not walking out a life of faith, that just shall live by faith. Remember, not live by grace, live by faith. If you're not walking out a life of faith, God's not pleased. So God is definitely not saying, this is my son whom I well please. So you still haven't been endorsed by the Father. Blessed is what his scripture says. Blessed is be verbally endorsed. So favor is not going out ahead of you. You struggling. You're working harder than you have to. Because you're not pleasing the Father. Without Hebrews 11:6, without faith it's impossible to please him. It's what the prodigal son went through. The prodigal son was at the father's house. He was a servant. No, he was a child. He was an heir, but he was the heir is no different than the servant as long as he's a child. But he got childish and said, give me mine now. So the father said, okay, here. So he went out, spent everything he had like a child, ended up eating with the pigs and said, wait a minute. The scripture says in Luke 15, it says he came to himself. Look. He actually discovered himself amongst eating the slop. He came to himself and said, wait a minute. My dad's hired servants are eating better than me. I'm going to go back and ask my dad, could I be a servant? So look, if he was willing to be a servant, he would have never been going through what he was doing. Until the appointed time of the Father. He tried to take control and get out ahead of the Father. So you're a son until you pass the test of servanthood. So you don't cross over into an heir. You're an heir when you've mastered the heart of a servant. You're an heir when you've mastered the heart of a servant. So it's no longer mere conscious surface effort, but it's matured into subconscious existence. So, as a leader, one thing as I learned, leaders must first be servants, or those that be great must first be servant of all. Well, why does the great person has to be servant of all? Because if you serve in all, you're sensitive to all, and you can lead all a whole lot better because you have experience what they're going through. So you're going to be great because all will want to serve you because you relate to them. But if you skip all these levels because you bigger than that, then you'll be insensitive to the people that you're supposed to be leading. So this is great, supposed to be servant of all. So I learned that. So leaders must first be servants. So I taught spiritual authority in our ministry school, and what I told them is, I said, at first I was doing it because I'm a systematic thinker. I'm a former math guy, calculus all the time. I just like solving problems. So if you give me the system, matter of fact, some of y'all jobs I don't do. I don't do your job. I don't do your job. But tell me what the system is. Just train me what the system is. I'll be able to do your job as long as it has a system attached. I'll figure the system out because everything has a fundamental to it, and I'll be able to do your job. All right, so once I understood the system of leadership is leaders must first be servants, so I took on the nature of a servant. I'm going to serve. But I was serving surfacely. This is what leaders are supposed to do. Till I crossed over and realized leaders are not just supposed to act like servants. They are servants. I had to become. I had to be who I am, not just what I do. Every level of leadership, you're serving a greater level of people. So we're pastors. We're just at a greater level of service because we have to serve more people. Once I learned that, because that's why you don't have authority until you learn to submit to authority. You learn to serve. The scripture says you be faithful to another man's, God gives you your own, because he understands you. You understand the people that are serving you. Why give you a team when you don't know how to be on a team? You don't know how to be a teammate, so somebody's going to give you a team. You're just going to lord over them. You're not going to lead them and love them. Right? All right, so the scripture says all creation is waiting for the manifestations of the sons of God. Romans 8:19. So creation is waiting for the birth of the sons of God, waiting for us to mature, to evolve into what we're supposed to do. We're holding that thing up when we try to control the outcome. All right, let's go to Hebrews 5, and let's start with verse 11. It says, of whom we have many things to say, and hard to be uttered, seeing you are dull of hearing. So here they're breaking it down. Paul, I got a lot of things to say. It's going to be hard for you to hear because your hearing has been dulled. You exposed yourself to so much other stuff. This going to be hard for you to take. You're going to walk out of here, probably get in the car going, please, it don't take all that. I ain't the one. I ain't doing that. I know some of y'all do that already, but it's cool. I understand. I used to do it. It's true. I know. All right, verse 12, it says, for the time you ought to be teachers. It says, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not strong meat. So he's like, at this level, you're supposed to be teachers. He says, but you need somebody to teach you. And not just teach you, but teach you the basic principles. Like, I got to go back and give you milk. When at this level, you should be taking on the strong meat. You shouldn't still be at the milk level. You shouldn't be adolescent. You should be ready for some meat, some revelation, some manifestation. But you still at information. He said you should be beyond that. See, so you front maturity, but you're walking like a child. This is the Bible. I know that was my paraphrase verse, but it's the Bible. All right, what we got? Look, it says for verse 13. It says, for everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. So they got the information, but they don't even know how to use it. So sickness and disease show up. They're like, what do I do with that? You got the tools. You got the word. We talked about that this morning. You got the word. You bind and loose. Because you know, Matthew 18:18. You skillful in the word. When a demand is placed on you, you like Jesus. It is written. But if you're not doing that, then you're a babe. It's just information. I don't use this in my life. I use CNN in my life. I don't see in the Bible in my life. I do CNN. So I apply CNN to every situation. What they say, lifetime, I apply what they, somebody probably breaking a house tomorrow. As opposed to applying what the word says. Believing what God says. Right?